Shohei Ohtani versus Aaron Judge in the Bronx. Diamond Diehards is on. Joe Rizzo here bringing you baseball along with the Dawg, Jeff Healy. Diamond Diehards is back. We did we took a couple of weeks off there with Dawg having some stuff. Riz here being in San Diego for a little work, but a little baseball. And now we're back. So yeah, so here we are. And
I think that was mostly Riz travel, by the way.
Yeah, I think it mostly. I think it mostly.
I think it was like a day, by the way.
Yeah, I think it mostly was. Opening segment, fmsgraphics.com for all your printing and promotional needs. Go to fmsgraphics.com for all of it. And when you need to get stuff out there that you want to put in people's hands, it's unmatched. So go to fmsgraphics.com. All right, Dawg. Ohtani versus Judge literally happening as we speak for the second time. It's just after 9 o'clock on the Eastern Seaboard here. If you're checking us out on Facebook, we're glad that you are on the live stream. And if not, and you're catching it whenever, we'll give you a little background and, to follow along. If you were watching the Yankees-Angels game and you wanted to follow along kind of where we are, at the time we start this, it's the bottom of the sixth. The Yankees are winning 2-1. Judge has a home run, and he's robbed a home run, I believe, for the third time in his career. And to this point, Ohtani 0 for 3 with a strikeout and 2 left on base. Ohtani in the first game of the series with the homer, and the Angels won 5-2. So that's the way it goes here, I think. And then the final game of the 3-game set for Thursday. So you might even be listening to this while you're watching that on Thursday, and we're glad that you are. On all the areas where you get podcasts, they could be Facebook, it could be Apple Podcasts, it could be YouTube. That's right, YouTube. How you doing? It could be Rumble, it could be Stitcher, It could be Spotify, wherever you are. Follow us or subscribe because we need your help, and we'd like to have it there. All right, Dawg. So
Discord server?
Discord. I don't know if we're on there.
Some secret documents along the way?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're probably there.
We should talk about the Judge Robin Homer was of Ohtani. So just a great matchup, right? And just really a headline for baseball. I mean, even as a National League fan and a Mets fan or whatever, it doesn't get better than seeing Judge taking on Trout and Ohtani.
All the other stuff seems secondary when these guys are going at it, right? Like,
yeah, it's just it's just what a coup for Amazon Prime to get the coverage on that. And this is really this is why they paid the big bucks, as they say.
Yeah, sigh, but yeah, it's such a pain. As I'm trying to get the game now on my freaking phone. Oh God, I'm so pissed. Trying to get the stupid game on my phone. I had it before. I had producer Xavier. Got to give him credit here. Producer Xavier Rizzo helping me switch back as I've updated and upgraded some technology, and I moved from my studio office down and took his space, and now I'm back to this space. So Xavier, thank you very much for helping me get set up, and also Dominic Rizzo had helped during the move as well. But now back in the regular realm with a little bit better equipment. Still trying to figure out maybe the lighting. There's a little bit of shadows over there. Trying not to look like I'm standing next to the sun, for the love of God. But yeah, so you got our buddy Frank at Not Gaetti on Twitter. Dawg was he got you fired up with a tweet right before this show. I do believe. I think it was
yesterday, but I think it's been ongoing. So the last day or two, comparing Ohtani and Judge. So he was playing for the clicks, and he got him.
He got you.
Got me good.
Dawg was fired up.
All giddy up. So he was comparing the Ohtani, the great two-way player, and he was sort of saying how Judge is 6'7", throws 97, so he could probably go pitch in the major leagues. And he was more likely that he could pitch than Ohtani could hit 62 homers. So, which is a little bit of a stretch.
Is it?
It's
What's
complete
the
BS
stretch?
is what it is.
What's the stretch? Let me hear.
The stretch is that it's a heck of a stretch, even though you throw 97 and you threw it and you were a good pitcher in high school, that you magically can do it at the major leagues. As there's plenty of guys in 97 who suck and have made it all the way up through the minors. So to think you're going to jump from there to just magically be able to pitch in the majors is quite a healthy leap. Versus now, if Ohtani was like a slap hitter and you said 62, then maybe you start to talk it. But Ohtani's hit, mid 40s home runs already. So while yes, it would be certainly a very healthy year for Ohtani to go out and hit 62, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. Versus Judge coming in, and I guess the question is, what's the level of pitch? I mean, I assume pitch to be like a decent pitcher at least. Certainly not. He wasn't saying he's gonna be like Ohtani level pitching, obviously. But regardless, it was just crazy, and he was having some fun with it. So people were blasting him back, and he was having a little fun with it too. So, but you're wrong, not guy Eddie.
So Ohtani could hit 62 homers.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
It's certainly within the realm. I mean, it's not, as we'd say, it's not a base case. It's a bull case for him. But to me, it's within the realm of possibility. Like, it's, a 2 standard deviation move there, right? So it's not gonna happen all the time. But could he have it? Yeah, things went right. I think he certainly could.
Okay. So no unjuiced guy in the history of the majors, except for one last year, Aaron Judge, has hit as many as 62 home runs in the season. But you're just as comfortable saying, yeah, Ohtani could do it.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm more comfortable in that than saying a guy who hasn't thrown since high school can pitch in the major leagues.
But I feel like the assumption of the tweet was that if Judge was doing it the whole time, if Judge had taken the same path as Ohtani, where he wasn't necessarily playing as much in the field or at all in the field, and he was just either pitching or DHing, could he have been the equal? It's a big jump. It's a big jump because the pitching is so difficult, right? Like we've seen a lot of guys that are Judge's build that have tried to pitch. There's some in the majors now. Like you're much more likely to see a 6'6" or 6'7" pitcher than you are a hitter that size, right? So there are pitchers that do it. So in theory, kind of, you could say, well, his body type does definitely lend itself to being a pitcher. Also, when he throws from the outfield, it very often looks like he's not throwing very hard because his motion is very easy. So from that standpoint, I think, again, he would have had to been honing these skills since his time after he stopped pitching in high school. A big assumption, but if you're thinking about the athlete, I think you'd really have to start increasing the pool of players who you could say may have been able to do this. And the first guy you'd have to start with is Madison Bumgarner, I think, Dawg. What do you think? Outside of the realm of those two.
I mean, clearly the pitching is I think I feel safe for this. The pitching is the hardest hurdle in my view. So clearly, like we sort of talk we talk the good hitting pitcher. We don't talk the good pitching fielder very often. Other than Luis Gourmet. Luis Gourmet clearly could do that, but
he can do anything.
He can do anything.
He can catch flying bats.
The guy's sick. So yes, there are, we have in the history of baseball had some good hitting pitchers, obviously going back to the Babe, of course. But yeah, to have is it more likely to have a guy who's a great hitter and become a pitcher? I think that's much more difficult than to have the pitcher. Because most of the time, honestly, and it does get a little weird, right? Like through high school, like all these guys were the best pitcher and were the best hitters on their team, right? Probably the best pitchers and hitters, both the best pitcher and the best hitter like their town has like ever seen, right? So they're all like a whole different sort of realm and stuff. But like when you start to go up, let's say in college, and maybe in the lower levels of the minor leagues and stuff, you start to get that differentiation along there. And I just think the pitching is always more difficult to get and achieve. So again, it somewhat depends on what's the level of pitcher that you would say is because the guy is a great hitter. Could he also be like a decent middle reliever? Yeah, I guess maybe, right? I mean, if you got if you have a big, like most of these guys have a big fastball, right? So the question is like, do you have the control? That's sort of the number one rule out. And then you get your secondary pitches and stuff like that. So most of these guys who were the good pitchers, that they probably had they had a great fastball, right? Because all these guys can throw hard. Like that's the same, like infielders and stuff. I mean, there's a ton of guys who can throw mid to high 90s. Right. That's not actually the hard part. The hard part is getting the control and then getting the secondary pitch. So, through high school, they probably had a sick fastball and they probably had an okay, curve or slider.
I
But,
loved
but they
when
didn't have like the rest of the repertoire, I would say, with that goes with that.
I loved when Mark DeRosa, he was on my fellow Bergen Catholic alum, Mark DeRosa, was on Mad Dog like about a week or so or two after the Ohtani versus Trout final, where he was the manager for Team USA. And he was talking a lot about Ohtani. And he's like, I was the kid, when you're 12 years old, like, because he has a great Jersey accent. and he's like, yeah, like when I was 12, I was a shortstop and I was the best player in the little league team. And, I pitched and I dominated. And, eventually like that, you get a little older and like that goes away. And he's like, but this guy is still doing it. And he's doing it to the best guys on the planet.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like that part of it really is crazy. But then you take a step back and you think, well, how many other guys could do it? And then you look at Judge and you're like, I feel like if anybody else could do it, like he's probably the guy, right? Like he's probably the guy of all the guys.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. Right. I mean, it's funny, like you used to see Canseco come in, right? Like and pitch and stuff, and he could throw hard and stuff like that. So back when they were doing cleanup days in the 80s or whatnot, he would kind of come in and give it a chuck.
Yeah, but he wasn't. I don't think he was like trying to overpower people. Like
no, he was like
over.
Yeah, he wasn't like aggressively pitching or whatever.
But yeah, maybe like he's a guy that would have been.
Yeah, and again, there are similar sort of, Judge obviously taller and stuff like that. But
by the way, Dawg, I gotta jump in. Katie Sharp, KTSHARP on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Katie Sharp tweeted this about the Ohtani robbed home run by Judge. Shohei Ohtani's batted ball went 411 feet with 111 mile per hour exit velocity. There are 1,560 other batted balls in the StatCast database since 2015 that went 411 plus feet and had a 111 mile per hour exit velocity. Ohtani's is the only one that resulted in an out. So there was basically a 1 in 1,560 chance that was going to be an out. And the only guy that could have gotten it was Aaron Judge.
That literally went, yeah, that is exactly it, right?
That is Judge versus
He was 6'2",
Ohtani.
he wouldn't have gotten it.
Actually,
I think he even like got it with his glove and sort of knocked it back, then caught it with his hand, which is even more ridiculous.
That is Judge versus Ohtani. It's like a superhero movie here, right?
Yeah.
And it's all playing out in baseball, which is just amazing, right?
Yep, but they totally need that to get the season going. It's been great. I mean, it's been great, and it's you're seeing good baseball in big markets and stuff, which I think is helping baseball as well, right? So you have both the Mets and the Yankees are doing well. You got the Dodgers. Actually, well, Dodgers after ran to the Mets got knocked below 500 here, but
yeah, I was going to say the Metsies knocked the Dodgers below 500. That's the other thing we got to talk about. The Max Scherzer ejection, which is the theater of the absurd. What is going on?
Yeah, it was funny. I was still working there, so I only saw see like blurbs and all this thing pop up that he got ejected. I'm like, what? And then I saw it and I was like, I'm not one to like jump on the umps really. And most of the time if they do it, I assume they sort of have, the rationale. And I'm like, all right, it's got, sticky substance, whatever. They said not to do it. He did it. Then I get like the background on it. It's like he went in, like they said, all right, go wash this off. He goes, wash it off, and comes back out and go back in again. And the guy's sitting there watching with him. Then they're like, oh no, that's it, you're out. I'm like, how do you get like first of all, how do you not throw him out if the first case? If it was worth it getting thrown out, then you'd throw him out right away. Like, why are you sitting there saying, "Oh, go wash your hands"? Okay, go wash your hands again. I mean, what is he for? I mean, what is going on? That was just bizarre. Like, how do you for like the integrity of the game? How do you let him keep pitching those 2 innings? Like, now is that like, it was all that suspect. Those 2 innings were bogus because they were letting him have an illegal advantage, right? But then like after he washes more of it off, then you say no, now you're breaking the rules. You're out. I mean, it's just a comedy.
Yeah, it
The
was
whole
just
way.
weird the way the whole thing came about and then like finished. And what was amazing was Buck Showalter after the game just spinning it in such a positive way, like talking about how it was such a great win. What an amazing ball game. And like, it's really great to win that one. And the thing is, like, he's not bullshitting. Like
Yeah.
it was a freaking great win coming off what happened on Tuesday. Kershaw,
Yeah.
5-0, 200th career win. The Mets get the first game of the series. They win the series by taking this game. It's a day game. I mean, that was a huge win. You put the Dodgers under 500. Mookie Betts, I guess he wasn't there still because of he just had the birth of his child. But now, Dawg, when he returns, apparently he's going to start playing shortstop. Did you hear
Really?
that?
No, I didn't know that. I should.
Yeah. Yeah. Mookie's going to play short. He's always talked about how he wants to go back to second base.
Yeah.
And I remember a while ago when he first signed on to play at the World Baseball Classic, his thought was that he was going to sign on as him and Trout were like the first ones pretty much. Because those guys can sign on.
Yeah.
Like
That's
the
like,
other guys,
where would you like to play, Mookie?
yeah. The other guys, have to be like accepted on the team, but like, Trout and Mookie Betts, like, they could just decide whatever the fuck they want to do. So, but the original thought, we talked about it here on the show, was that Mookie might play second. Well, he's played second. He came up as a second baseman with the Red Sox, but he's never played short in a major league game. But now with the Dodgers, just with the way the season has started here, apparently he's going to get a shot at shortstop, and he's never played there in a major league game. So we're sitting here and we're having a show where the first, 10, 12 minutes, we're talking about Judge and Ohtani as the 2 best players. And like, but what player goes from right field to shortstop? That's insane. Like that you could even like play there for like a game or whatever, get your team by. But like, if he ends up being the regular shortstop for the Dodgers and, they come out of this early season malaise and make the playoffs, like that's a massive story. Like that's crazy. Like who has done that? I mean, this is like Hannes Wagner stuff where he came up as mostly more of an outfielder, and he was just always such the best player on the field, but he just would move around based on, whatever the Louisville team or the early Pirates had. He would kind of just move around the diamond until it became so obvious, like, we got to play this guy at short. He's just like the best guy. That's Mookie. Like, so we're seeing Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, and they get all the headlines, but like Mookie Betts, he's like one of those guys, and he's got more rings than both of them combined, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got 2 rings. Judge and Ohtani have none.
It's exciting times. Good. It's good times for baseball. Good time to talk baseball.
I think I might have to change the title of this episode from Shohei Ohtani versus Aaron Judge and add Mookie Betts' name in there. Because I think maybe like he's like, it's kind of crazy to think a guy on the Dodgers could be underestimated or unheralded, right? Isn't it?
It is true though. It really is.
He is.
He's truly just a remarkable player.
And he does everything right. Like, and he does everything right off the field and on the field. Like he's an amazing player. Like that, the Red Sox losing him They're a Red Sox. There was always the talk of like they were never going to
That
be able to
might
keep him. He
that
was
might
never going
take
to
the
be able to
shine.
re-sign.
That might have taken the shine off of Hyman that one. Now all of a sudden his Rays are going crazy this year. So he was they were getting there was little murmurings, I think, prior to that, but we'll see.
And Wandy Peralta came in and struck out Ohtani. Ohtani fouled the ball, looked like off of his knee earlier in the at bat. He drops to 0 for 4 for this game that we're doing simultaneously. We got the hockey going on. We had to pick a Wednesday when the Rangers weren't playing the Devils. Now Dog's a traitor, a turncoat. He's not backing me on the Devils because they fired his friend.
I've been all over the place.
Yeah,
you don't do that to Naz.
He kind of did. He was there for 7 years.
True.
So Dog's buddy was one of the Devils' assistant coaches for 7 years, and I think his contract was actually. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I think his contract was actually up.
Yeah, it was.
And they just opted to not bring him back.
Correct.
So they didn't like dump him or anything.
True.
And now he's on freaking Dallas, and they were second in the West or something, second or third in the West. So
things are pretty good. Things are not too bad for Ness. So still comes back to visit.
I don't think the Devils did him dirty. I don't.
No,
So I think
he had a good relationship actually with like the universe and stuff like that. So yeah, it was depressing.
I think the Dog needs to not root for the Rangers at least. Just be neutral.
Yeah, no. I'm definitely a fickle fan when it comes to hockey. I've been both a Rangers and a Devils fan. So
and a Kings fan.
And a Kings fan. That's true.
Like back in college, yeah.
Exactly. So,
all right, Dog. So
I'll root wherever I'm going. I'll root for either one of them while I'm there. I guess I'm just kind of going for the Rangers. I basically go underneath the garden every day now. I'm going to work, so I gotta go slip down there.
You've been to way more Devils games, especially recently, I would say. When was the last time you were even at a Ranger game?
Actually, I used to watch the Devils.
There you go. It counts as a Devil game.
Yeah, sort of. It's almost.
Dog, the stress of this, I think I might need a visit to Gatto Acupuncture and Wellness in Glen Rock, New Jersey. If I do decide to do that, I will book online at gattoacu.com or call 551-212-3845 and have Dr. Melissa take care of me. Her holistic approach is unmatched, and it is all about the health and wellness, not just this day, but every day. Gatto Acupuncture and Wellness, Glen Rock, New Jersey. Book online, gattoacu.com or call 551-212-3845. Tell them Diamond Diehards sent you. And as always, if you're interested in patronizing or finding out more about our sponsors, wherever you are consuming this podcast from, via Facebook here on the live stream, and we got some people checking us out, and it could be on YouTube, or it could be on Spotify, it could be on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or any of these. We always put the information for our sponsors in the description. So go in and take a visit there, click the links, and see what it's all about. Go and, if you want, go do your own research too. But they've been backing us. All these four have been backing us for quite some time, and we are grateful for that. So Uncle Paul has chimed in. He is back. I had to ping him to make sure that he knew we were on. He's glad to see us. He's upset about the major league rules that were rewritten, and he thinks they need to be written. The Mets would consider filing an investigation on the matter of today. And he says Mookie Betts has the same role as Jeff McNeil. Which is actually a very interesting call out. Maybe their careers are sort of going in reverse, where McNeil's gone from more of an infielder to an outfielder, and Betts is kind of going from infielder to outfielder back to infielder. And producer Xavier checks in from the producer dugout. So that's good. So we know producer Xavier checking in. Yeah, Dog. What were you about to say?
I was just trying to say how I had a German Shepherd who really needs some Gatto acupuncture.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? She needs some needles. Dog needs to mellow out a little bit.
Well, Gatto acupuncture is definitely pet friendly.
There you go.
I would call first before you're bringing your pet. But Dr. Melissa has a great way of just welcoming all.
There you go.
I don't know if she would work on the pet, but certainly the pet would probably feel mellow and relaxed as I do every time I walk into that office in Glen Rock, New Jersey.
There you go.
All right, Dog. Early standings in baseball as the Yankees and Angels move into the 7th inning. The early standings in baseball really have they've given us some surprises if we weren't us. But you and
I know
I
right where you're going.
I mean, I think that we've the early returns on some of the teams that we liked are pretty good, except for maybe the Rays. I don't know if did we both have the Rays making playoffs? I think I had them out actually.
Yeah, I think I did too. So yeah, they've definitely been an early surprise to everybody. Just cranking away, and just the scoring is just unbelievable for those
Yeah,
guys.
Dog. They've played 19 games and they're plus 83 on their run difference.
That's a pretty good year.
Yeah, that's like how many teams last year finished plus 83?
Yeah.
Probably not that many.
Well, not.
I mean, the Dodgers were ridiculous. They were over plus 300. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Plus 83 in 19 games is ridiculous. They're 10-0 at home. They're 6-3 away. They're 5-2 against teams over 500, which is like pretty much all the Blue Jays, I guess, and when the Red Sox were, but they knocked them sort of backwards.
Yeah, so the East AL East looking strong, right? And then we kind of had that, right? Everyone being strong, and including the Orioles hanging in. So that was one that we, I think you were.
Yeah, we both liked them.
I'm about to say, I think you had them. I think not higher than me, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And we both thought the Red Sox probably were going to be a little bit more competitive, maybe, just being on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But so far 9-9, I mean,
Yeah, I mean honestly, that division looks almost exactly kind of the way we would sort of. I mean, other than like the Rays being a little bit ahead, and maybe reality will kind of come back on that, but they see Evan over 500.
Yeah, the Yankees and Baltimore are tied for third at 10-7 at the moment. Yankees with a higher run difference. The Blue Jays are 11-7, but they're -5 run difference. So they're somehow, they're getting blown out in the games they're losing, and they're narrowly winning the games they're winning. So we'll see. That's probably a lot of Jordan Romano. The Twins at 10-7, Guardians at 10-9, Tigers 7-10, White Sox 7-12, Royals 4-15. I thought the Royals are 1-12 at home.
That's crazy.
That's messed up.
That is messed up, man. I mean, that's such a loyal fan base too.
I know. They've played 19 games, Dog. 16 of them have been against teams over 500. So they've had a brutal schedule. Like everybody's just gone into Kansas City and run through it like Paris during a world war. Oh shit, did I say that out loud? God damn it, Dog. Shit,
Ouch.
Healy.
Ouch.
Dog, how many how many men does it take to defend Paris?
True story.
Dog, how many men how many troops does it take to defend Paris? Don't know. It's never been tried.
Oh boy.
Oops. All right. Military history brought to you by the Mascolo Group, serving all of your real estate needs in the northern and Pascack Valley and all of northern New Jersey. Go to GaryMascolo.com or call 201-615-3665 if you need to relocate.
I will say
the Royals might need the Mascolo Group because they better relocate from Kansas City where they're 1-12.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe Oakland.
Yeah.
Oakland needs first call.
Yeah, Oakland 3-16. They've been sort of the story. They're -86 in their run difference. So as great as the Rays have been at 16-3 plus 83, the A's are 3-16 -86, which is they've been even worse than the Rays have been great. That's insane. Yeah. But they are 2-10 at home, so they don't have the worst home record in the league. Their 1-6 road record is the worst, however. And all of their entire schedule has been played against teams above 500. So that's tough. That's a tough way to get out of the box.
True.
And they brought up their best prospect today, and he got rocked, I think.
I was waiting for you to start crowing about the Rangers.
Well, actually, I think, picked them even higher than I did in the end. They're 12-6.
Yeah.
They're off to a nice start here, but they've had the easy schedule, 2-4 against teams above 500. So take advantage while you can, right? Angels 9-8 pending the outcome of this Yankee game. I believe, I don't know if it held true all the way up until today, which is April 19th, 2023. But I believe the Angels up to some point recently had the lead in every single game.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. That's actually very amazing. Especially when you're 500.
Yeah,
So,
right. Well, that's like, here's the good news. You've had the lead in
yeah,
every game. Here's the bad news.
you
You're
can't
like
hold it.
only you can't hold it.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting story though, right? Like I feel like,
And that's always something you always can try and pick up at the break too, right? As you know,
but it
when you pick
might
up
be
relieving.
too late, Dog. They
Mm.
might
And
have to move early.
there's so many teams are staying it, right? That's the other effect that's going on with the wild card, right? A lot of teams want to get stuff, but nobody wants to be sellers. So it's actually weirdly gotten tough to add that talent.
Pay higher, move early, and you get the guys for longer, they could have a bigger effect.
Yeah.
It's hard, but like they're trying to keep Ohtani, right? The best way to keep Ohtani is to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because you get to the playoffs with Ohtani, now the actual advantage of having Ohtani on your team, besides all the obvious advantages, he is optimized as a playoff weapon.
Yeah.
Because he literally gives you an extra player that the other teams don't have. You literally carry one extra player because he's playing two prominent roles on your team that no other team can equal. And in the playoffs, that's a big way that you can make a difference. Sometimes the 26th man or the 27th man, let's just call it, is the difference between. Ask the Red Sox. They don't win without Dave Roberts. Period. You can't even argue that. Every Red Sox fan will tell you, no matter how diehard they are, the more diehard they are, the more they tell you that they never win 2004 without Dave Roberts being on the team. And he was very clearly the last man on the roster, right? Agreed?
True.
So that's the difference between them breaking the curse and winning 4 World Series titles subsequently, well, not subsequent, 3 subsequent to that. But that becomes a big difference potentially for the Angels. And to get Trout, back in the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, and maybe he'll he can't fare really worse than he did than when he went against the Royals, but that would really be something. Astros, we thought might have a little bit of regression here, 8-10 to start the year. It feels like we never even see the Astros go through an 8-10, 18 game streak anywhere during the season, let alone right at the beginning. And the Mariners are off to a slow start at 8-11. They don't get to beat up on the A's 19 times this year. So we'll see how that all pans out, right?
Yep, good point.
Dog, maybe I underestimated the Braves. Maybe you did too. You picked the Mets to win the division. I picked the Phillies. We both did pick the Braves, I think, to come in second, though.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of had like all 3 of those teams. We had kind of, somewhere between the 1900 sort of category, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they're all just they're kind of go out there doing what we would sort of expect them to do. And the Marlins hang tough.
Yeah.
As well for now. And the
Braves 14-5 without Rizzo Iglesias, like having thrown a pitch yet as a closer. And, they let Kenley Jansen walk to the Red Sox. So to me, that's impressive. However, Dog, all of their games have been against teams under 500. So again, the schedule this year more than other years that we've seen because of the schedule where you play every team in the league. It's allowing some of these teams to just get out of the blocks like gangbusters. I mean, you still have to go out there, you still have to win the games, but it covers a lot of warts when you have the talent edge. And the Braves have a talent edge over most of these teams.
Well, that's what they're saying, like the both beasts in the East, right? That they were the 2 strongest divisions last year, and likely probably even more so with the balanced schedule.
Yeah. Mets 12-7 after the series win over the Dodgers. That's a big one. 8-5 away from home. They've only played 6 home games. And,
Hilarious one for the Mets, which I did not realize. Sorry to cut you off there. Was after the ignominious sweeping in Milwaukee, the last 21 games Mets have played in Milwaukee, the 3-18. I actually was missing it. Normally it's Atlanta is the house of horrors. Maybe truly it's actually Milwaukee is the true house of horrors for the Mets, because they are getting destroyed every time they go in there.
well,
And that time was no exception.
I'm sure they'd like a shot at it in October. I don't think the Brewers would want to see them. Listen, Dawg, we can't get play by play, but the Angels just tied it off Wandy Peralta in the 8th, and none of the big two had anything to do with it. So,
big 2-out hit.
Urshela, a golf ball. Oh my God, the pitch
Wolf.
almost bounced. He's playing first base tonight.
That's a nice piece of hitting right there.
Yeah, wow. Jeez.
Living good.
Mets with the plus 11 run difference, Braves plus 32.
What was that throw? This guy can pitch. This guy can't pitch. Look at that throw.
Marlins 10-9, but they're minus 26 run difference. That's like just they're getting slaughtered when they lose. And they're winning 1-run games, I guess. Phillies had the really slow start, but they've climbed back to 8-11. And the Nationals 5-12. That's more like what we expect from some of these bottom feeder teams, as opposed to like, these I mean, it's not really that much better, but the Royals and A's have just been like non-competitive in a lot of these games, which is messed up. Brewers, as you mentioned, 5-1 at home, 3 of those against the Mets, 14-5 for the season. Here's one that you and I were all over: the Cubs. All over the Cubs, right? Why? Strengthened up the middle defensively, and even on the corners to some large degree.
You more than me, but you're big on the Cubbies.
Yeah, because they went for defense, and some of these, and if any of these guys hit, like Patrick Wisdom decides that he's going to hit now. Oh, Judge with an unreal catch.
Oh, nice
in
play.
Center.
Nice
oh,
catch.
Baby.
Ridiculous catch.
Wow. I'll tell you what, with a catch like that, if Judge was a pitcher, that would have been a no-hitter based on that catch, Dawg.
That's almost a Nimmo level catch. Ooh.
You mean Nimmo has at times made Judge level catches, Dawg. That is a sick catch, Dawg.
That is a sick catch.
In Center, he went all the way to the gap and caught that. And that kept the game 2-2.
It was huge. That was a huge play right there.
Wow. Judge.
Yeah.
He got ripped off in Strat as a 3 center.
Think you're getting your money's worth out of this guy.
I mean, it's a
pretty good start.
In the first few years, for sure. But listen, if he's paired up with Ohtani, that would be something. We'll talk more about that toward the end of the show. Cubs 11-6, 2 behind the Brewers. The Pirates, Dawg. The Pirates have
got to get Rob on now.
Yeah, Rob Beer.
Not gonna get any better than this.
our pal from the Athletic. We're gonna have to do a Pirates show.
Exactly.
We haven't had Rob on here, I think, for like a couple of years, and we made sure when we did that we had him on preseason when the Pirates are still alive before the opener. But we did talk about it. They were one of the if teams, right? Like they have all this young talent. Of course, O'Neal Cruz broke his ankle, and I think he's out for the year. But that Rodolfo Castro comes in and like he had a big game earlier in this day. And he just basically plugs into shortstop, where some people think maybe right now as players, he might be even ahead of Cruz, where Cruz is, the 6'7" shortstop, probably needs to develop a little bit more, a dynamic talent, but Castro maybe already is a little bit better player, plugged in right in the middle. Brian Hayes has, he started out a little bit slow, but he's picked it up. So the Pirates are 12-7, and they are 3-0 versus teams above 500. Dawg.
Oh, sorry.
Who saw that?
Sorry, I was going to try and comment in there. Yeah, I mean that's just ridiculous on those guys coming along. So, how about your Cardinals? A little disappointing out of block. So I think there was more my pick on that one, but So
Yeah, I'm
a
not
little
that.
high the runs given up. That's a little surprising for the Cardinals.
I'm not that surprised at the slow start. I feel like in all these seasons they really start to pick it up in like August and September,
That's true.
and we'll see. I mean, they have a lot of talent, but
Yeah,
there's
mid-range 11.
definitely
It's not crazily off or anything, right? And just a
well,
-2 differential. It's kind of
it's not, but like when the Brewers start out 14-5, you got to make sure. And the Brewers have played, you know, half their games that they played 19 games, but 9 of them are against teams above 500. So they've started out with a pretty, decent schedule. The Cardinals are 6-10 against teams above 500. So of their 19 games, 16 of them have been against the better side of the ledger so far. So that probably has a little bit to do with it. You figure,
yeah.
once they get into some of the soft underbelly here, they got to go win those games. And the Reds, 7-11, they just signed Hunter Green to a long-term deal, which was smart as anything, because
Mhm.
the guy throws BBs and he's certainly the kind of kid that you want as the face of your franchise. So good job maybe by the Reds as they see if they could start to turn their ship around a little bit. Definitely not expecting that to happen this year, but again, you never know. Like look at the Pirates. Maybe the Pirates have this start and they keep it rolling. If they double this, they're 24-14. All of a sudden, they're 10 games above 500 if they double what they just did at their start. So you got to see it. Like the old adage goes, Dog. You can't win a pennant in April, but you certainly could lose one. And listen, it's better to not lose it in April, right? And then we get to
That
the
is,
West. This is a team that definitely I was on, was the
yep.
Arizona Diamondbacks. They are not deep at all, but they're good with what they have. If they get injuries or they run into like a little bit of a team slump, they don't have guys that they could bring in there to kind of patchwork things.
But
But
you kind of like though the good speed and the good defense, right? And speed and base stealing now obviously coming up big time this year. So as baseball starts to sort of toggle back to that a little bit, Arizona's kind of positioned well for that, right? So again, like started zagging a little bit when everyone else was zigging, adding up some of those guys that maybe have a little bit, a little bit of a competitive or a comparative advantage, right? Because they're not, you're not competing for the highest dollar guys. Arizona putting together a decent little team there, and that's the kind of stuff that tends to kind of keep you around, right? It's not as streaky as like the power hitters and stuff. I mean, only speed and defense kind of keeps you around in games and keeps those games close.
yeah, speed doesn't go into a slump, and usually defense doesn't either, right?
Yeah.
But again, the depth isn't quite there yet on the roster, and
Yeah.
theoretically, it's depth is something that you could acquire. But for now, they'll take the 11-8 start in first place, and that's because the rest of the division has gotten off to a slow start. Mets knocked the Dodgers down to 9-10. Dodgers are plus 19 though. Everybody else in the division is minus. The Diamondbacks are -7. Padres are 9-11 with a -10 run difference. Giants are 6-11 with a -6 run difference. And the Rockies have been shameful, 5-14, -51. So they've been like in that real bottom rung of garbage so far, the Rockies, which is a
Giants have
little
to watch a little
disappointing.
bit to get the Metsies rolling in here. Feeling pretty good over the Dodger series and whatnot. So they gotta watch it, or they could be digging a hole for themselves pretty quick.
Well, we got Mets have to watch it too, that it's not the Darren Ruff revenge tour.
Or Conforto go crazy on them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We got
Well, I mean,
we got our boy Jersey's finest Volpe on, and your boys up
yeah, that's
big time,
interesting. So
big
with
time, big
Volpe
time.
on, he had second base stolen right there, but he kind of just held up. Like really, this is the new baseball. Welcome to the old baseball. What do? You have the power hitter up. He's, Judge is still, I mean, he hits 300 now, but you still really think of him as a 3 outcome guy. But if you could steal second, do you do it? Like, is it worth it? There's still a chance he's going to get caught, but he looks like he could pretty much steal it on any one of these pitches. Like, I think
It's not like you're holding the holding the hole open from too, right? So which sometimes you like to do. Like if you have a guy holding a guy on first, sometimes you want to keep the guy in first so you keep the hole open on the right side. But that's
Yeah,
not
and
exactly,
you don't have
that's
to.
not really a judge's game, right? So
Not so much. I mean, and
yeah,
you don't have the whole overshift business going on. I mean, we like
yeah,
now we refer to it as them banning the shift. You know, we don't call it the overshift, which is what you and I would call it, like or hear called when we were growing up, right? Like even though it didn't
yeah,
happen that much, they called it. It's a better description of what it is, I
yeah, true.
guess. Like an overshift. I guess a shift. Maybe it's
Yeah,
redundant.
because the
I
shift
don't
is
know.
like, yeah, you know, the shortstop moves over and the third baseman moves over to that. But yeah, not that the guy's going on the other side of the base.
Judge, let's say, listen, dog, we can't get play by play, but it's 1 and 2. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, those standings thus far, you've had some crazy stuff. The Rockies are now already sitting on an 8-game losing streak, and they just haven't looked, there's just some of these teams that just have not looked competitive. And it's really disappointing, but it's a sign of the times, right? It really is. Um, if you're not going to be kind of in the wild card mix, like they've sort of incentivized you to be garbage. So yeah, I guess you reap what you sow. Um, the stat leaders are kind of interesting. Like if you just look at OPS, which kind of is the sort of measuring stick today, there's 9 players that are over that magical 1.000 OPS, and none of them are guys that you expect to be there by the end. Matt Chapman from the Blue Jays, I guess his hip is feeling good. He's a Gold Glove third baseman. He's a power hitter, but 409 with a 473 on base and a 773 slugging and a 1286 OPS is not going to be Matt Chapman at the end of the year, right? Like he's going to regress toward the mean. Brandon Marsh from the Phillies, that trade now looking pretty good for the Phillies, right? They got him last year, young player, plays center field, got the beard, looks like he should have been, from Central Casting, and he's off, with an 1156 OPS. Patrick Wisdom from the Cubs, before the strikeouts will catch up to him. I mean, 21 strikeouts against 61 at bats, but 8 homers and a 1097 OPS. Luis Arias, dog, I said he will hit 350 this year. So far, I'm wrong. He's hitting 438. Or Arise, I should say it. But his batting average is so high that even though he only has a homer, a triple, and 4 doubles, he's still slugging 578 with a 1071 OPS. Jorge Mateo from the Orioles, who swiped 8 out of 9 bags, has been off to a super hot start, 1056 OPS. Nolan Gorman from the Cardinals, the rookie. Well, was he the Gold Glover or was that Donovan? Gorman, a 1052. Sean Murphy, the catcher that the Braves acquired from the A's in the offseason, 1031. Brandon Lau from the Rays, 1018. And Andrew McCutchen from the Pirates turning back the clock to his MVP days with a 1003 OPS. Those are your
And of
your
course,
big 9.
the polar bear tied for lead in home runs in Major League Baseball.
Well, that helps. And
That
that's
helps.
you sort of expect that, right?
That's nice.
And he's not far behind in the other stats as well. He and Patrick Wisdom tied for the lead. Yordan Alvarez with 21 ribbies leads the league. So if you're not one of those that's checking on the stats, we're giving you the benefit of that. Dawg, can you tell me who the league leader is in walks? It's actually not that much of a surprise. And if you look at me, there's a hint. If you look at me, there's a hint. If you're watching the video, there is a hint.
Could it be Juan Soto?
It is Juan Soto
of the Pods. The
Yeah.
Pods.
Which is going to lead us
was
into
killing the Mets. He was killing the Mets. So we get that.
It is going to lead us into our final segment, which will be brought to you by Big Ed's Car Wash in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, 17-16 River Road. if you are in the Bergen or Passaic County areas, you need to get your ride clean right now. It's April 19th. And that means spring and all the pollen is upon us if you're in this area. So you got to get that clean. That stuff will stay on your car. It'll stay in your car, but Big Ed will get it off of there for you, and your car will be shining bright and clean. Big Ed's Car Wash, Fair Lawn, New Jersey, a proud sponsor of Diamond Diehards for a number of years now. Go to Big Ed and tell him Diamond Diehards sent ya. Yeah. So the clue was, if you're just listening and you're not watching, that I am wearing a San Diego Padres hat. That is a first for the show. And the Padres hat was part of my company took us out to San Diego for some meetings. So thank you there. And of course, and there's a bunch of people from the company now who tune into the podcast as well. Particularly my buddy Juan. And it was our dream here to go see a baseball game together. And we did that. And he's a big Dodgers fan from Mexico City. And he was able to come up. We saw the Padre Brewer game, a 4-3 Brewer win in extra innings. And subsequently, he was able to stay out a little longer and see his beloved Dodgers. And he always wanted to see Clayton Kershaw pitch in person, Dog. And he got to see his 200th win. So at the expense of the Mets, my pal Juan got to see Clayton Kershaw's 200th career win, the first time he saw Kershaw pitch in person. And now he can brag like you and I can that he's seen Clayton Kershaw throw a shutout, although we saw him throw a complete game shutout against the Mets instead of a 7-inning one.
Oh, man. Did he get caught up in Fernando Mania? Is that how he became a Dodger fan?
I think everyone from Mexico who's a Dodger fan has a relation to that. I don't know if he's quite as old as we are. So that was probably more the stuff of
more passed down.
Yeah, passed down. But Fernando Valenzuela is for sure legendary in the lore of Mexican baseball fans who like the major leagues, and most of those, of course, that prefer the Dodgers. There's the Fernando influence is just, it's undeniable, and it's great to still talk about it. And like you and I were kids, but certainly we remember that. I mean, it was like, it was crazy. Like it was kind of, it was like Ohtani.
Yeah.
Right. The way that he made people that weren't that interested in baseball get interested and watch. And it wasn't just in Mexico. It was here in the US. Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was just an interesting character. And I'll tell you what, that guy can hit. He played first base in major league games. He did.
Yeah,
You could look it up.
There you go.
Yeah, he would, when he, like, later in his career, when he became a reliever, like sometimes they'd switch him out and he'd go and he'd play first base and then he'd come back into the game to pitch. Yeah, so Fernando Mania,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. But yeah, like Mark Fidrich, the Bird, we're old enough to have remembered him as young kids. And then, Fernando Mania, right? So the Bird was like 76 in Detroit. Fernando Mania was 81 in LA. What else did, like who else have been the compelling characters in that time? I'm trying to think. I mean, you had teams, right? But these are like these sort of iconic players that drew fan attention from kind of outside the regular baseball realm. Should probably have like
kind of argued Tug, probably like with the Phillies. I mean, obviously he had the 73 run with the Metsies and stuff. But
how about Bo Jackson?
Okay, well, I thought we were just talking back in like around 80s.
No, I'm talking about like the progression.
Whole time. Oh yeah,
like the progression over the years. Bo,
yeah,
right?
Bo definitely is one that brought in people from
Dion, right? To a lesser degree, Dion Sanders.
Dion, yeah. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, not in the majors though. Not in the majors.
True. Yeah, interesting stories. We'll get in. I think Wild Thing was he was kind of a phenomenon for a while.
Yeah,
I think people
that's
kind
not
of
a
get
bad
to.
call out.
So yeah, it kind of brought the casual fan into it. Um,
Wild thing,
for
you
talking
make
about
my
say for
wild thing, you make my heart sing. You walk everything.
serve it up to Joe Cotta. Um, Dark Knight 2013 for us Metsies.
For the
Too short a
Met,
period though. That was
for the,
an Astros. That was a Met thing.
yeah, I think that was more of a Met thing. I don't think that captured the
Edwin
imagination.
Diaz with trumpets, right? Narco.
Maybe
It
it's a
was
little,
that was a little bit of phenomenon going on.
little bit. It was
People
just
tweeting
kind
out
of.
stuff.
It was like a month though.
Well, I suppose, yeah, with just the theme music and all that. Let's see. Let's see. We obviously had Ohtani, Trout. Trout kind of yes and no though, right? Like Trout not nearly as much as it should be.
No,
But, like,
Trout's a no. Trout's a no because he's just a great, unbelievable baseball player.
just
He's
don't know
not
that.
a guy like even people who like watch Major League Baseball games all the time, like still almost don't notice him, right?
Yeah.
Like he's kind of like
Pedro,
Pujols,
Pedro,
right?
Pedro.
Pedro, yeah, but I mean, he was great, but
A
like
little
how
bit of
much did
personality.
he?
Big Poppy, maybe more of a person. I guess you're kind of
Maybe
looking for
Big
the
Poppy,
personality, right? The big
yeah,
personalities too.
Maybe Big Poppy, but probably
Yeah.
more in the Boston thing, I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I don't know. We probably should have like researched.
I'm not saying
Probably should have researched this
I'm
segment.
kind of exhausted.
Yeah.
It's been a long week already.
By the way, it was Juan Soto bobblehead night, the game that I went to.
Nice.
The box is
Did you see the Ryan documentary?
not yet. No.
Oh, you got it. We got to do like a show watching that or something. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's just flat out awesome.
Well, we got to.
Even as it hurts, you see like what the Mets had and just gave it away. We're not having as good a pitching coach, which is like bizarre. They had Rube Walker there. Rube Walker's a great pitching coach. How did it not work with Ryan? Amazing. Just he went out, just found this guy in the Angels, and that was it.
I
So
think that sounds like one maybe where we watch it and then we do a little research and see if we could get, the
yeah,
producer or the director
how
on or something.
yeah, that would
Maybe
be
one of those deals.
that'd be good. That'd be goody.
Wait till the thing, now the thing's been out for a couple of years, person's not in demand. Hey, we remember you.
Bringing it back.
You're bored, right? Like everybody forgot about you, right? Well, that's it. Once everybody's forgotten you, your prime candidacy for Diamond Diehards has arrived. Has arrived. All right, Dog. Did we miss anything? I don't think we did. Yankees and Angels as we as we're finishing this up are 2-2 in the ninth inning. So we'll see how that all pans out. Ward is up, which means I believe Ohtani is on deck. 2 outs, nobody on. Oh, again, Dog, we can't do play-by-play. By the way, Petco, if you haven't had a chance to go, you got to go. We sat or walked around in the landing in left field. Oh boy.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, fuck. The weather in San Diego the whole time we were there was between 50 and 60, but mostly in the 50s, with like a 15-mile-an-hour wind and mist or rain the whole time. There was like one
like the worst weather ever in San Diego.
Like literally, yeah. My cab driver said he'd been there for 21 years, and he's like, I'm like, is this like what kind of weather is this? He's like, yeah, this literally has like never happened here that I could remember. He's like, it doesn't rain. So the fact that like the streets are wet is just something, in and of itself. And it's a good thing I brought a sweatshirt. Most people bought sweatshirts when they were there.
Yeah, why would you even bring it? Going to San Diego, you would figure.
Oh, one, you bring it for like the plane.
Yeah.
But it was like 85 and sunny with no humidity in New Jersey, like the whole time I was there. Yeah. So I survived the bad weather in San Diego.
Here comes Sister. I can't hit a home run.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. We got to stretch it out here a little bit. Dog's eyelids are being held open for toothpicks, but when
Oh.
Ohtani comes up, it's like somebody cracked
I'm
the
watching
smelling
now.
salts.
The big eyes going.
The smelling salts were cracked in front of Dog. Oh, he's alert.
Oh, hey, what we got there? Got some steak.
Ohtani 0 for 4 against Clay Holmes now in this at bat.
2-0. Here come groove it.
Oh, he didn't groove.
This guy
See, here's the
feels
thing. Here's the
unscared.
trap, right? Here's the
Unscared.
trap. You walk Ohtani, and now you got to face Trout with a guy on who's fast.
Put him in scoring position too.
Yeah. Oh my God, what's he gonna do here?
3-0. Throw a ball, bounce one.
Strike.
Ooh, that was ballsy.
Whoa, that was ballsy. It had movement on it too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good
This
pitch.
is it doesn't get better than this on Diamond Diehards. You're either living the moment or reliving it right now.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
How about that? Ray Montgomery watches on from
3-1.
the
Here's the
dugout.
pitch. Outside.
Ohtani walks.
Outside. Ball 4.
And from the Angels dugout, Ray Montgomery jumps up to the top step and gives Ohtani the steal side. Bench coach. Yankee mound visit. So now Trout and Ohtani trying to wreck the Yankees instead of wrecking each other.
Almost trying to load up the ball there. Clearly.
Can't blame him.
No, it too. Skip, what you got there?
Trout 2 for 4 in the game.
Hey, Skip, let me shake your hand. You put stop on the ball.
Hey,
Oh, an arm like yours, kid.
Hey, Skip, there's a spider on your hand. Do you want to attack it? Spider tag. All right, yeah, we're not doing play-by-play, but Trout is up against
the
Clay
show's not
Holmes.
over until
Yeah, this is like the old days. This is like the pandemic days when we would just be on, be like, you know what, we really got nowhere else to go and nothing else to do, so we might as well just stay on live during the big moments. I think we did that when the Dodgers won the World Series, right? I think we were actually on the air when they won the pennant and the World Series.
Yeah, we had a whole string of Friday Night Follies. The Mets losing. That was like our thing
until they started winning all the time.
Yeah, that's true. And the last game of the Yankees in the playoffs too, right? I think we were on.
Yep.
That was a tough one.
Seemingly every year. Riz jumps on to watch the Yankees lose to the Astros and end their season in disappointment and disgrace once again. Diamond Diehards is on.
Fortunately, we didn't even get there with the Mets.
Yeah.
I had scouts and that was about it. No.
All right, so
right.
First and second.
Trout.
That's Ward on second, right? So Ward's on second. Ohtani's on first. It's 2-2 with 2 outs, and Trout is up against Clay Holmes.
Deuces wild. Here we go.
He's got to throw a sinker. He did, and Trout held off. Full count puts the runners in motion, Dog. With 2 outs.
Digging it. Hot diggity.
Oh boy.
Got a real humdinger going here. Oh my.
Good speed on the bases. Ward with good speed. Ohtani with great speed. Oh, Trout, he got him swinging.
Oh, he did not swing.
Oh, he totally did.
I don't think so. But to be fair, I never think so.
I called the swing as soon as I saw it, and he rung him right up. Well, he didn't bring him up.
Somebody's not very happy.
Oh, Phil Nevin. Oh boy.
Bill's the same view of that I did.
Missy
he's taking everybody.
Missy Coombs, keep your guy in check. Phil Nevin. That's her guy. Phil Nevin. That's our pal Missy Coombs' buddy.
No replay on that, huh? No replay. What is this? Oh, it must be a Yankee broadcast. No,
it's Prime here. Okay.
He's called it.
Oh, come on, Dog. He's way over. I hate
that, but they called us. They called us. So.
Did you see the replay?
I just saw it. Yeah.
He didn't. So that's a weird one. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't break the. He didn't
break the wrist, but he went way over the plate.
Yeah, they call that now. I mean, I don't like it, but that's consistent with the way it's called.
So there's I mean that's So he didn't break
Bad
the
job
wrist.
at try, because that ball was anywhere close.
I know. It's ball 4. But
Clay Holmes dancing through the raindrops.
but that's it, that's another way to do it, right? Like the bat crossed the plate by a lot, like it wasn't even close, but he didn't break the wrists. So
Old school, you would say it's not. But today
would
they're
you?
bringing
No,
it.
I feel like they would
You didn't
always
break the-
call that if you broke the
If you
plate.
didn't break the wrist, I mean, I'm talking like back like 80s and stuff.
Yeah, me too. I feel like they would call you. They would bang you out if the bat crossed over.
He went
the plate.
pretty far.
He was way far. He was way up there.
Yeah.
And he didn't really even like Nevin complained way more than Trout did.
Yeah, Trout's not really complaining, right?
Yeah, which is odd because he's a Philly guy. He's like the quietest Philly guy ever. Like he's from New Jersey, but he's from the Philadelphia suburbs of New Jersey. So he's a Jersey guy, but he's really a Philly guy. But like among Philly guys, he doesn't like act like the typical Philly guy that you'd see.
He's just happy he got away. He got away to the West Coast where he belonged.
Yeah.
So
he likes the water. The water in the West Coast is better.
I know what that even is.
That's a Philly accent. The Philly accent, which came from God knows where. I could have Dominic Rizzo come in and do all like 100 different accents. I don't know where this. He probably got it somewhat from me. I could do some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
But like sometimes he'll just like today he was speaking in he spoke in a Spanish accent, which I've never really heard him do. He'll do Scottish like every day, every now and then. Dominic Rizzo comes in and he's Scottish for the day. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That works.
Just does a lot of them. All right, Dawg. I guess for the rest of the game, we'll let people either check it out or figure it out. Or if you're listening on demand, you already know what happened. So at least you got to relive it as Peraza just gets hit by a pitch and now he's on base to start the bottom of the ninth.
That's a gift. That's a gift right there.
I mean, hell, he couldn't even really get out of the way.
No, he tried awfully hard, didn't he?
Let's see. Oh, they're showing the Trout check swing again. Oh, yeah. You know what, Dawg? Maybe he didn't really go over the plate. Let's see. Another angle. Oh no, so I don't know. You see two different angles. It looks like two different things.
Yeah.
I think there's a case.
They call that. I mean, yeah, it's legit. He went further than I thought he did live when I saw the replay. I mean, they'll call that. That's not an egregious call.
There is a case though. I think he did have a case.
Yeah.
I think if that's
they're gonna ring him though. Honestly,
I think
most time when you go that far, they're gonna ring you. I don't like it, but that's just the way they call it, I think.
Dawg, I feel like if that's Boone, he gets kicked out right there. He just takes it. I think he just takes it to the next level and gets kicked out. Oh, and the bunt play, they get the lead runner. He must be like a C bunter. Of course, Gio Urshela is playing first base, which I don't know if he's ever done before, but the guy's a shortstop basically. And like on the bunt, he just fields it and throws a perfect strike to second. So like the one guy you shouldn't bunt it to was like the best fielder on the field at any position. He's like a better fielder probably than the actual guy playing shortstop.
That was almost like a Hernandez jump on it, but his play was harder because he's a righty.
That was a really good play by Urshela.
That was a great play.
Now Jose Trevino's up. He'll probably hit a walk-off homer. Maybe we'll just wrap it up there. Producer Xavier Rizzo, thank you very much. Also, the pitch in from Dominic Rizzo, who has helped out as we've moved our studio back and forth. We gave you all the sponsors, but we encourage you to go in the description of the show and check them out if you haven't done it before. Kind of something for everybody there, but especially if you're in the North Jersey area, some real cool places to visit and services to be rendered by our sponsors that are Gatto Acupuncture, the Mascolo Group, Realtors, and Big Ed's Car Wash, and online from anywhere, fmsgraphics.com. So check them all out. You can follow the Dawg on Twitter at Jeff Healy 8. That's the number 8. And you can follow me, Joe Rizzo, at Diamond Diehards on Twitter. And if you do Diamond Diehards on pretty much any social media, you'll be able to find us as well. And if you like the show, an easy way to share it is to direct your friends, your family, or your enemies to diamonddiehards.com. We have the audio shows and the links and all the social media stuff available there as well. That is going to do it. We are back. And we keep saying that we're going to do more shows, but we will. We definitely will.
Yeah, we got baseball going now. We
got-
want to like get a little jump start. Now we got stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So we're rocking and rolling. That is going to do it for what turned out to be a Wednesday Night Live. For
Quick hit,
the Dog.
quick hit.
Quick hits. For the Dog, Jeff Healy. This is Joe Rizzo. Diamond Diehards is out.